In this video, we'll discuss the specifics of today's court victory and how it will affect the outcome of the Ripple SEC case. Yes, I think the majority of the XRP community is sleeping on this one. Around the bend. Towards the end of the video, I also want to discuss something that is currently the subject of much speculation, particularly regarding X and that. Will significant organizations apply to an XRP ETF? Guys, there has been a rumor about tomorrow. Rumors are spreading that large institutions are submitting applications for an XRP ETF. We're going to discuss that in this video on April 12th, so as usual, be sure to see the entire thing through. I sincerely appreciate everyone who has liked the videos and subscribed to the channel. Your support greatly aids me. People, I really appreciate it if you could take a moment to press the bell notification button. Thank you very much. I wanted to start this video by simply stating that the automated market maker is now officially live on the XRP Ledger and that we have already seen over 1 million XRP. I hope you guys like the information. This is really exciting because, when combined with the automated market maker, it will improve the XRP Ledger's overall financial tooliness and provide deeper liquidity. It's truly a historic moment for the XRP Ledger. It's great to see this initiative taking off. Live and bug-free. Time, people. I believe some very amazing things will be built on top of this automated market maker soon, but for now, this is a historic occasion. As we transition into the next generation of this system, we are developing additional financial products and introducing new features. I'm simply watching the liquidity pools build up right now. We will begin discussing the more significant effects that this will have, which will effectively result in the creation of a whole new financial system and DI environment. Moving forward on the XRP Ledger is my goal. Thought and swiftly discuss the topic. That kind of passed over my head until it was just brought to my attention. This was tweeted the first time I saw it, and it has to do with the gate, so people. Released by John Dion genuinely in 2022, and it kind of blew my mind, so I thought I'd let you guys know about it. Since it's among the stranger stuff that I've observed and believe the XRP, this is a tweet, but the community didn't really pay attention to it at the time. This tweet, from John D, basically dissected a portion of the Ripple SEC case that, in my opinion, was overlooked. That is to say, following his departure, Bill Hinman met with Ripple at the SEC. This is very startling. It is absurd that Bill Hinman, a private individual, would be meeting with Ripple after leaving the SEC. Guys, many individuals have expressed doubts about the gate, claiming that this was completely normal behavior, so nothing unusual is happening. However, the facts are emerging more quickly than in the past, and I am now more certain than ever that there will be consequences for what happened. Behind the scenes, the abrupt closure of XRP gave Ethereum a free pass. According to the SEC lawsuit, it's facts. Facts like these, which just cannot be disregarded, inform us that we are looking in the correct places and that things will eventually surface. It appears that more and more people are becoming gate believers every day. Keep in mind that many people labeled the XRP community as insane, and this was a conspiracy theory, but it's beginning to appear that once again, we were correct the entire time. However, now that I've talked about something in this video that I was genuinely enthusiastic about earlier today, I want to move on because I feel like this is going pretty well. Hidden from view in the XRP community, I must bring this to your attention immediately. As I have said on this channel several times, the point we're at in the SEC v. Ripple case, in essence, is what is Ripple doing right now? We have already made all the crucial decisions. We understand that XRP is not a security and that most of Ripple's sales do not constitute securities transactions. However, I did find out that some of Ripple's sales to certain institutions did qualify as securities transactions, even though that doesn't mean the XRP that Ripple sold to those institutions is a security. The SEC is essentially saying that because Ripple sold $700 million to institutions and the judge determined that those sales were securities transactions, then Ripple should owe us $2 billion as a punishment. This is simply because they should have informed the SEC when they were selling that XRP to the institutions. What is the current SEC's growth from 700 million to 2 billion? I'm sure you're as perplexed as I am. We won't delve into that, but my focus is on determining the actual portion of the 700 million that the SEC will receive. This is because the SEC is currently facing a significant legal obstacle, and the situation worsened earlier today. Consequently, the SEC's primary challenge in establishing Ripple's $2 billion debt stems from the fact that none of the investors who bought XRP suffered any harm. In fact, most of them made substantial profits. Due to this, the SEC was unable to identify any institution that was harmed by Ripple's securities XRP transaction when it brought this lawsuit against Ripple. As a result, the SEC was unable to identify any individuals who had actually lost money. For the SEC, this is a serious problem, since it was only now that we learned that the Second Circuit is certainly certain. To proceed with the Ripple SEC case, the SEC must prove the superiority of the Second Circuit over the current one. This implies that the current Ripple SEC case must follow all decisions made in the Second Circuit unless there is evidence of investor harm. We were already aware of the likelihood of this outcome, but the Second Circuit's crash earlier today confirmed that the SEC won't receive any compensation unless they can identify a genuine victim of Ripple's XRP sales. In other words, you don't have a case for actually getting any kind of discouragement, or essentially, the SEC doesn't have a case for getting any of the $2 billion they want now. This is rather alarming. The SEC is dealing with a huge problem here, and I don't see how they could pursue this case much further when all they have to do is claim that institutional investors suffered harm without mentioning a single one. Guys, this is completely ridiculous. It illustrates the weaknesses in the SEC's argument. I don't want to go into too much detail here, but this is only half the fight. Even if the SEC were to discover an institution that had suffered financial losses on XRP, we would have known about it by now, right? This information would have already been included in the case. That wasn't the case, but let's engage in some conjecture. In this scenario, everyone simply missed it and was unaware that the SEC would still need to provide proof of that. The reason the institution was functioning in the U.S. was that the SEC simply lacked jurisdiction if the sale had taken place outside of the U.S. and the investor had suffered significant harm. The SEC is currently experiencing a complete meltdown. I'm trying to save this case. Every day, people ask me if the SEC's cases are due this week. Why haven't they settled yet? Why hasn't the SEC just said, you know what? We're getting smoked? Now let's proceed. Let's concentrate our efforts. Let's concentrate our efforts on the Unis exchange. On Coinbase, but it's obvious that we're not using our resources wisely at the moment to attempt to fight the Ripple folks uphill. I would have assumed that this case would have been resolved by now. The SEC has presented false information. The SEC has failed to formulate a compelling argument for what they truly desire from Ripple in this particular situation. This is just another example of the SEC being woefully underprepared. If I can find any flaws in this legal argument, it's because they've been making it up as they go along and throwing everything at a wall to see what sticks. I'm not a lawyer, but I believe Ripple will completely destroy them as they enter this penalty phase. It will be incredibly disruptive. We'll have to wait and see what transpires, but it's interesting to see what would happen if we weren't dealing with the SEC. I would be shocked if there wasn't a settlement, but the SEC has obviously adopted an illogical stance throughout and has continued to make decisions that are completely counter to common sense. At the very least, this should highlight how desperate the SEC is and how well Ripple's legal team has been working until now. Guys, I want to wrap up this video by discussing the conjecture surrounding the XRP ETF. Guys, all I'm going to say is that if it happens tomorrow, I will create an apology video. A lot of people are claiming that we will see an XRP ETF, and a lot of people are stating that the major banks are filing for an XRP ETF. Will erupt from the roofs, yelling I was mistaken, but I'll tell you now that it won't happen, that no X account has access to any confidential knowledge about what will happen tomorrow, and that no major institution will be submitting an application for an XRP ETF. Why am I so positive about this? Guys, with the Ripple SEC case ongoing, it is illogical for any institution to file for an XRP ETF. All of these institutions that are filing for extremely conservative ETFs are not going to want to accept the chance. There's really no motivation to do so at present because the majority of the institutions that would be submitting are afraid of upsetting the SEC and applying for one of these ETFs before this matter is resolved. We're still working on the Ethereum ETF for the XRP ETF. Guys, if these large institutions had been seriously considering applying an XRP ETF, we would have seen signals from these institutions that something along these lines was in the works. Observed activity on the chain indicating that these institutions were gathering XRP and most likely already witnessed Grayscale reopening their XRP fund. I predict that we won't see it, guys. There are a lot of hints that we should have seen by now, but most importantly, it won't happen during the ongoing Ripple SEC case. I will apologize to everyone who got it right and make an entire video explaining how stupid I am and how I messed up if I am incorrect. However, at this point, my basic assumption is that logic tells me we won't see it now. I'm really sure about that. In the future, there will likely be an XRP ETF. I am positive that there will be enthusiasm surrounding both the Ripple IPO and the XRP ETF, some of which we have never seen before. Sadly, we haven't arrived yet. We still have a little while to go. In light of that, these are things that will happen, not if, but when. After this case concludes, XRP will become the first digital currency to revolutionize the American financial system. This is something that many people want to happen immediately, and it will eventually happen. Thank you so much, guys, you only had to wait. Thank you, perhaps you found this enjoyable. Update, we would greatly appreciate it if you could like this post and subscribe.